Hey everyone, I'm going to be making this is going to be a short video, just a quick explanation of the basic tools if you want to start armoring. Alright, so this is the bare minimum tools that you need if you're going to start armoring. This is what I started with. Right in the beginning when I first started off, I had possibly even less than this, but I was forging rough in the back. I was 16 years old. I was forging out of a makeshift forge and everything. And when I got more progressively into specializing in making armor, these are the tools that I got. So first of all, part is a good solid chunk of steel to hammer on. Okay, so this is the first anvil I got. It's more of an anvil shaped object because it's not proper steel for an anvil, so it dings a lot. It's not hardened. It's not hard, so it marks very easily. So, but this is what I started with. One thing I can suggest is if you get something like this, fortunate to start off with something like this. I got this for a bargain from a company called Armouring. It's similar to in the States, similar to Armour. From what I can gather, pretty much looks like the exact same company, just Armouring is here in South Africa and Armour is in America. So, okay, so this I got for a steel, I think it was 1,000 Rand. 1,000 Rand I bought this anvil for, it's probably $80. So I got this thing, but you don't need an anvil. What you want is a flat surface. You can get away with a section of railway. The thing is, this stuff's getting very expensive because forging become very popular. So a good steel surface to work on. An anvil's nice because with armoring you do a lot of intricate detail work and stuff, so you tend to use the horn quite a bit. You use the heel, you use everything of the anvil. So it's a good thing to have, but it's not necessary to start with. A basic piece of block of steel, a thick plate of steel, something that's got a bit of heft to it, so when you hammer on it, it doesn't give. I've seen people use a steel plate, a thick plate. I suggest going very thick, otherwise continuous hammering it will start bending it out. Right, going along with that is a decent hammer. Okay, so this is also probably one of the first hammers I've had, and it's been going strong. I've had to reset the handle a few times. Don't waste your time with a claw hammer, proper thing like this. Start off, get yourself a decent ball peen hammer. You will be using that side and you will be using that side. Okay, so this definitely a must. This and this you can start armoring. Right, very basically again. Then what does help is to do part of one of the processes to be dishing the steel, and for dishing it you need a little bit more heft in your hammer. So I've got myself a 2-pound hammer. It was given to me as a gift a long time ago. I put a new handle on. I put a longer handle on so I get a bit more, angle on it, torque essentially when hammering with it. It's decent for doing the rough work. It's tiring, but it's good for doing the rough work. I even raise this. I use this to raise steel, and yeah, so that's a good start. So definitely these two hammers, ball peen and a smallish sledge to start off with. Then if you want to go a little bit more, I bought this thing and it looks like a piece of junk. It had a detachable hammer head. This I got in a panel beating kit. Right, so there's a few pieces, what panel beaters use, but there's a few decent hammers in there. This one was nice because you could exchange the hammer head, but I wouldn't suggest this one because I've tried to weld it and it breaks. It takes a lot of strain. It didn't last long, but I still have it. So these are the things I've had since the beginning, and I've been armoring now for probably nearly 15 years now, I would say. Nearly 15 years, yeah. I'm 30 now, so I started when I was 16, yeah. So I'm 13 years. Let's say 13 years I've been armoring for. This has been nearly the whole time. But a panel beating kit has a good hammer. It's got your good chasing hammer or planishing hammer. It's got a nice raising hammer. A good start as on, they're relatively cheap. Again, I got this at Armouring, Armour in America. So that, what I would say, would be the basics of working this. You can start off with armoring cold. I started off cold. You don't need heat. Thin steel works well cold, albeit a little bit more difficult. You have to put more effort into it, but you can start off cold. You won't get as intricate details in that cold, but it's worth a shot. That's where you can start off with. So these are literally the basic bare minimum tools. Start off shaping the steel. Anything else I can add? Yes. A decent glove would also help. Wear and tear on your hands, so I would really suggest these, I think they would call it a pigskin glove. That works nicely, it sits nicely on your hand, it's not very loose. You get those, more mechanical hammers, gloves, they tend to wear out, they're very cheap, they wear out. These I found work very nicely, a decent quality pair. I've had cheap ones before and they wear out too quickly. Spend the money and get yourself a decent pair of gloves. It wears your hands out, blisters, that's one thing you go through quite a bit, is messing up your hands, and you want to look after your hands. So that's, I suppose, the crux of it. That's the basic stuff I would suggest going off. I will go over to stuff you need for polishing, probably in a later one. But this, I definitely suggest, is the starting point. A good hammer, or 2 or 3, and a good chunk of steel to hammer on. Like I said, if you look at very early anvils, Norman era, very early 11th century, even earlier, their anvils are literally just a block of steel. So there was no fancy haul, no fancy heel or anything, like a block of steel, and they work. That's all you need. A section of railway will be perfect. The other thing that I want to suggest as well, okay, will be a dishing form. So this will be, dishing is another basic armoring technique. You will use this extensively in the beginning. I have a very nice steel dish that I had machined for me. So it's just a concave section of steel that you can hammer in. So if you've got a flat piece of steel, use this hammer especially for this, and by hitting it, you will be pressing the steel in. You're getting a rounder shape, a dished shape. Problem with that is it tends to thin the steel out considerably. If you're hitting here, the steel is going to be thinning out. You're stretching it there in the center here. This is a good start. You don't have to have a machine. I've got a wooden stump. I've got it over there. I had a separate one. You've seen it before in some of my videos. Literally, all you need is a decent wooden stump of a harder wood, and you can cut out. I sit there and chiseled it out. It's a good thing to you practice with it. Just shallow. It doesn't have to be too deep. You can make several ones. A lot of armorers later on have many different depths, which help because again, it's thinning out the steel. So you start off shallow, get more progressively deeper as you go along. So a hammer, 3 hammers, and a dishing stake or sump or something of the sort to do those dishes up. You're looking at maybe about 15 centimeter diameter, maybe 1.5 to 2 centimeters deep. You can go deeper, 3 centimeters. I think that one's 3 centimeters. You can go deeper with it, right? But I suggest sticking to around about the 2 centimeter deep, about 15 centimeter diameter. That should do you well, 15 to 20 centimeter diameter. That will be the basics. I feel that will be, you've got your basic shaping, your basic planishing and forming here, then your serious dishing. You can do some dishing on steel. That works by hammering the steel. You're pressing it out, you're thinning it out, you're moving to the side, you dish it out. But definitely a wooden stump for help with that dishing. So yeah, I would suggest that's really the basics of starting off armoring. I think I will do a separate one. I skipped the whole cutting of the steel. I don't really want to go into that now because there's many different options to cut steel, ranging from simple, which is reasonably cost-effective, cheap, to a bit more rough and ready, dirty kind of thing, and it can go up to complex to very, very complex stuff. But yeah, that's it. Any questions? Give me a shout out. Ask any questions you want. I'm more than willing to help out, give advice where I can. Like I said, I've been doing it for 13 years. And coming from a country where this is not, when I started, there wasn't a big community for it. It was very small. It's grown a lot. There's a lot of armorers out there, some good armorers out there. I teach myself all the armoring. So I taught myself, I read books, I saw videos. There's a few guys out there that I've watched that have great videos on armoring and so on like that. That's helped a lot. Pushes you. But a lot of it I had to teach myself, and a lot of the tools I had to make myself. So it's very difficult to find the tools specifically for armoring. It is a very niche thing. I can probably count the number of armorers in the country on my one hand. Right? So so that's what it's like. So I know in certain countries it's a little bit easier to come along some of the stuff. You guys are lucky. But yeah, definitely this is what you would need to start off armoring. I've got some examples of some of the first stuff I started with. But yeah, and then this is something that I'm working on now. That's 13 years of experience getting put into that. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Again, comments, speak. I don't mind. It will be great to hear from you guys. Yeah, great. Cheers.